and I get motivated when I'm doing it. So as you can tell, I'm a philanthropist.
Yes.
And a driver of a philanthropic network, which is the greatest of my passion. I spend more time on that. Right. I'm also an academic, so I'm also a lecturer. I'm a lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, UPSA. Over there, I have some titles also. And so just these two things and other things. You will see my social life and other things.
For the period I have known you, I will say that you do give off a very calm demeanor in spite of all the many things going. I actually don't know how you do it myself. So you say it's calm, but it's busy. Where's the balance between the two? How do you find that balance?
A balance. I try to. I just want to say that it's possibly where I find myself. Where I can have control over my time. In a university, I have a flexible schedule. I flow very well with all of my colleagues and heads of the institution. Then when it comes to philanthropy also, because of the many years of experience, I know how to manage that alongside everything I do. And also at home, I also make sure that I'm available. I'm not the type that would always be out working. Where possible, I work from home. So if it is not too demanding that I go out, I work from home.
And this is being available for your children and
yes, right. Being available for my children and family and friends. Yes.
So where did your passion, at what point did this passion for philanthropy, when was it birthed?
I can say that I was born with it. And then it got enhanced with my work in a church, flogging with the youth. I like to flow with the elderly because I thought sometimes they may be the ones that have the most need. So you see me gravitating towards them in a large congregations. Then, so after my university training at Legon, I had the opportunity to pursue a master's in development studies. At that time, I also established an NGO way back.
Way back when? You were about how old?
Yes.
University, so early 20s?
Yes, the early 20s, right. Yes. And I called it Unicare Foundation.
Okay.
By then, I thought that it could be a medium or an avenue through which I can do my philanthropic work. Then I found myself in the US on a partial scholarship to pursue these development studies. So I thought that, this is great. So right from the university, that was at my master's level, I had the opportunity to do my national service with the United Nations, and that further enhanced my chances and my capabilities in the space. So upon finishing my service, I got some extension with the UN, and then after that, I went back to pursue my studies. And during that time, in the US, I spent about 13 years.
You spent 13 years in the United States?
In the United States.
Okay, so it started off as an internship. You said your national service in the UN was an
internship.
Internship in the US?
In the US, yes. Okay. It was also in New York.
It was also in the US, and that was extended.
Yes.
And you stayed in the United States. Which part?
In New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire, for 13 years.
13 years.
Yes, 1-3.
In the United Nations.
US. No, in the US for 13 years. Okay. So I was in the United Nations for about a year and a half, and then I went back to complete my graduate program, and then I started working. Just after I finished my master's, I was lucky to have been engaged by the university where I was, and I was doing something that is related to philanthropy. I was in the Institutional Advancement Office of the university, Southern New Hampshire University, and I virtually was the one who actually developed that division. Because it was a new department that I was called into, so I had to recruit and all that. So we were doing grant writing, solicitation, and other things, that would help with the advancement of the university. So I was working with the president and other development workers. Then I had the opportunity to also engage with other international NGOs like the Rockefellers, the Ford Foundation.
Those are really big positions and very. I mentioned earlier, you talk about them very calmly, but those are huge institutions, philanthropic organizations.
Yeah.
What did you learn from working at such high level in philanthropy?
Well, one of the things that I learned that I can make mention of is diplomacy, because the UN has very strict policies. They have frameworks and other things. So I learned diplomacy and how to approach the development work in general. And I can say that I've drawn much on that. I was specifically with the UNDP,
right,
and then flogging with the Ford and the Rockefellers and other things. But because I was doing development studies, we had the opportunity to engage with some of these huge institutions. So we know how to conduct ourselves within the space. So it was really helpful to me. And I saw the impact of that even after I left school. I had an NGO in the US. I had an institution in the US. And all along, I was in philanthropy before I go back to Ghana.
Before you returned to Ghana.
Yeah.
What were some of the things in the philanthropic space that were not so positive that you observed?
The spaces of Ghana.
International,
yes. That were not so positive.
Yes.
Over there, everything that we were doing, much of it was focused on the country. So it was country focused. But I remember when I was in the UN, I had the opportunity to be working on some of the databases of NGOs in the third world. So I was engaging with them. At some point also, outside of maybe some of the NGO, whatever, I was the president of I was a missions director, the international missions director. So I had about 52 missionaries and development workers that I was managing from the US. Then I got a feel of what was happening outside of the US. But I have a taste of both of them.
Do you think that such developmental projects always actually benefits the people at the ground level? Because a lot of times you find, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but some may find that large amounts of money are given to less, say, third world countries by places like the United States, and some don't always feel like the impact is actually always felt at the ground level, even though such huge sums of money are put into aid and donor work and developmental work. Is that sometimes the case?
Yeah, very true. Yes, it is most of the time the case, and I think you are right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think even now the development arena, what we are pushing is locally led development. But when you look at the flow of philanthropic capital, the channels that it has to go through before it gets to the grassroots is so long. So before it gets there, everything has been depreciated, used, because everybody along the chain would have to draw. So by the time you get there, so that happens. So sometimes some institutions or foundations will cut some of those middle entities so that funds can. So now there is a new drive towards strengthening the capacity at the local level, so that they'll be able to manage and lead. So that even CBOs, community-based organizations and other NGOs that play the role of intermediaries will be empowered together with the communities, so that funds can get to them and they can manage. That is why, if I should talk about the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, we are developing what we call, advancing the community foundation concept, where we help communities to become non-profit entities, so that they can do development work in the right way. Yes.
Who are some of the most notable people you've met along the way? People who have had a big impact on your journey?
That have had an impact on me, or
and
me
are notable, both.
And are notable.
Right.
Hi, this one is big. But I think that I've always been thinking about we being able to identify our local or indigenous philanthropist
Right.
that will serve as a role model for others to also come into the space and support. I know that in Nigeria we have quite a number of philanthropists who are out and they do great things. So some of those people could be my role model.
Names?
Most of the foundation, foundations.
Right.
And then coming back home, we have some who do some philanthropy. I'm trying to avoid calling names. Somebody say, but you ain't that, you didn't call my name. But I know that some are out there.
Yeah.
But the priority is not as big as,
Why do you think we don't do it as much? Why do you think that the level of philanthropy here is not as great as it should be?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. What I think is that we have this situation where there's lack of trust and transparency, and more or less we don't trust that when funds are given to individuals, they will do the due diligence of using it in the right way. So people will just sit and then do what they want to do according to their own knowledge. Some will give towards politics big time. Some will give to soccer and those social activities that has no philanthropic benefit, because maybe they want to have the publicity, the exposure that it comes with. But we are working to actually make sure that the space is able to show value, because the philanthropy space is beneficial. Even when you talk about, let's say, peace and security, okay, the faith-based, the churches are part of it. They are seen as entities that drive peace, security, especially during election years and when it comes to politics and all that.
Right.
So we have the Ghana Christian Council and Pentecostal and all of that are recognized. Okay, but I think that philanthropy also plays that security and peace role, because we feed the hungry, those that are on the field and the society. We do the social security and taking care of them. So that they don't
have crimes.
So we have so many benefits, but the problem is perhaps that we don't document this, we don't amplify it. So thank you very much for inviting me to your show. We don't show the value that we bring to the sector. It is the desire of government and development partners or entities to kind of see how much philanthropy can also help in meeting the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and even our own national goals. So we are looking for the opportunity where we'll be able to conduct some researches and then create a narration that is appealing, that can drive more giving, and also lead to maybe uncovering some philanthropists that are out there.
What is your why? Many people and even organizations do practice philanthropy. There's so many benefits to it. It can, in addition, the primary one should be to help. Right? But in some cases, it's also to gain popularity. It's to build a brand, really. There's so many reasons why people give, and there's not always the right reasons. What is your personal, genuine why? Why do you do this?
Yes, some people, let me take it from the corporate perspective. A corporate entity, perhaps, that has the ability to maybe partner with an NGO or CSO in a community where they operate, could perfectly do well, because this NGO, could have the best insight as far as the community is concerned, and will be able to maybe manage the intervention that this corporate body is intending to undertake. But this entity, organization, could decide to have their own foundation with 2 people or just 1 person, and this person may not have all the necessary insight and intelligence when it comes to delivering certain programs. Most of these corporate people will be going into education and health sectors, and they are kind of scared to partner. They are kind of scared to give the money away. They want to have an office or a foundation that is linked to the company. Now, one of the reasons, like you were asking, is because they want to brand themselves. They were careful as to what their money is going to be doing, and then whether they'll be giving them the right publicity and other things. So they fear to put it in the hands of another.
Yes.
In the same way, when we come to the individuals too, people are careful, and our culture also. When people get to know that you have this money, you're giving it away, the family will follow you the right. Some people
I think
cannot.
that plays a big role, because I've heard some business people or
Yes.
top leading
Okay.
people who prefer to take, like you're saying, a more simple position
posture.
or posture,
Yes.
so that they don't attract that unnecessary attention, given that they have money.
Yes.
Do you think that cultural mindset really affects the lack of enough philanthropic interventions?
Yes, Natalie, very, very much, because when you look at the churches, faith-based, people give their offerings and then the tithes and other things because they know it is private.
Right.
Nobody's going to say that in 12 months you have given 20,000,
Exactly.
30,000.
Right.
So people are comfortable to give, and when they give in the church, they think they are done with their giving, but the society still needs them. So you have to find a way between you and I to see how we can get them to also give towards the society and communities around the church and wherever they go, without the fear of family pursuing them.
Did you have an upbringing? What section of your upbringing do you think contributed to this passion for philanthropy?
Everything. First, I said the church where I used to do a lot of work.
Was it in the Greater Accra region?
In the Greater.
Okay.
Oh, actually started from the Volta region.
From the Volta region.
Oh yes, my dad actually was working in the Volta region in ACG actually. So we started from Volta, from Aflau, Denu, and then we got transferred to Hall, where we stayed there for all of our lives. I still have some of my siblings there. Then we joined the church there, and then so my upbringing at home, me connecting with the church. And I'm my mother's only child, so that also puts some constraints on me. Make sure you don't fail. If you fail, trouble. Everybody's looking up to me. So that also kind of molded my being and perceptions about things and where I am in philanthropy. I see so many needs around us, and a lot of calls come to the Ghana Philanthropy Forum right from the pandemic era. People who are in need of school fees, they will call you. If they have to top up in order for them to take examinations, they will call you. People call us with so many things. Sometimes it's accidents and a whole lot. And I kind of crave that one day we should have an infrastructure that will be able to mobilize resources like this, even if it is not for general needs. It could be for disasters, so that the emergency, so that coordination will be there. By building that structure, I don't know whether government cannot actually, because people don't trust government. If you go to government, they will say, so there should be some entity that has the trustworthiness, the transparency, and everything that one needs in order to attract, to be able to be a custodian of that purse, so that when donations get there, they can be used rightly.
That's very, very true. Now we'll talk a lot more about the giving culture of Ghanaians and what you see in the years ahead with the Ghana Philanthropy Forum and philanthropy in general. Do stay with us here on the Natalie Show. Back to the Natalie Ford Show, and I've been in conversation with Dr. Ben Okra, founder of the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, talking all things philanthropy. Now, Ben, you've been in quite a number of countries through your work, and having spent a long time in the United States, would you say that Ghanaians have a giving culture naturally as a people?
Yes, Natalie, yes, it's a big yes, and it remains yes, because we give in every occasion. Whether it is celebrating the birth of a child, wedding, naming ceremony, anywhere, and even on our daily basis we give. When you go out, when you go to church, anytime that we have the opportunity, somebody wants to give. And people who don't even have the resources feel like, I wish I had so I can give, even as we see opportunities to give. So giving is a culture, is part of the Ghanaian culture. And it needs to be promoted. The only problem is that some institutions or some narratives, they think that we are not giving strategically enough. That the quantum of giving is not that will result in an impact that is significant. So we should look at giving rightly and in large volumes towards the good cause or the right, yes.
What are some of the major difficulties in your work? Major challenges that you faced in executing such philanthropic initiatives?
Yes. Okay. Some I can mention one or two. Difficulties, I would say that the first one is where you see a need and then you cannot meet it. The Ghana Philanthropy Forum works across board. One, we do policy advocacy, where we try to get government to provide the enabling environment. We also think about the opportunity of getting private sector to work with the philanthropic artists or CSOs. That is a challenge for us because that connection is difficult to build. Then we are looking at the communities to where we drive social justice, the humanitarian needs in the communities. There's so much of it. Now, having talked about this, we also have I will say maybe the demand and the supply. Let's look at the demands on the ground, and then the CSOs who are supposed to meet that need. There is always a funding gap. There's always the need for financial resources and other resources to meet those needs, and especially talking about the medium and small size organizational NGO CSOs. They are the ones that are really suffering, but they are the ones also that do the most work at the grassroots. They know the communities better, and some of the leaders of these institutions use their salaries, their own income to do philanthropy or do all that they do. Now, there are about the 2 or 3% international NGOs and huge NGOs normally will run programs, but they run it at a very high cost compared to what the medium and small scale organizations, small size NGOs would do. So the biggest problem has been resources. So the Ghana Philanthropy Forum has been working with international partners. Like you said, I travel a lot, Geneva, UK, wherever. And we are linking up with international entities to be able to draw some philanthropic capital into the country and also work on policies. I do part of the Global Policy Advocacy Group, and we do advocacy at international conferences, high level international conferences, to get government to provide the enabling environment and also to drive an agenda for and open borders in terms of philanthropy, cross-border philanthropy we call it, so that, for example, if you're receiving funds to do a philanthropy work in the country, there shouldn't be restrictions too much. If you are receiving some goods from, let's say, any country, and it gets to a port, there should be exemptions or tax benefits, something they should be recognized so that it will be easier. Because if you go to Nigeria, for example, much of what goes into the orphanages are donations. So if you are not able to clear these goods at the port, it is very difficult. We are stifling them. So as far as when you talk about even back here in Ghana, the orphanages are really struggling of basic needs. and let alone taking them on excursions and getting the role models and other things. Those are very far-fetched.
Right.
It is important for all of us to know that we have something. There's the need there, out there, that we can meet. Most of us has the means to do that, but sometimes it's like we don't know of the opportunity to give,
the channel
to give also, because of the trust issue. So we are coming back. We hope that the space will be good enough to attract some of these resources to the right places.
Which social interventions do you think, as a country, we haven't put enough focus on? You spoke about orphanages,
yes,
right?
Okay.
Then there is mental health care.
Okay.
Because, well, I don't know what you make of that, right? But we see just a rise in mentally challenged people on the streets, even just taking a drive on the streets. It gets to the point where it's dangerous, right? I have been privy to a story of a late classmate who herself and her sister were attacked by a physically challenged person in Ghana on the streets of cantonments.
Yes.
So how do you think we are putting enough focus there? And how should government be tackling some of these social interventions?
Yes, you are very right. On countless occasions, when I drive from Central Region, Cape Coast, Winneba, coming, you see these lunatics walking all over, and then in Accra, you see them also. It doesn't seem like the assemblies, the metropolis, and all those authorities don't really have a plan for them. I know the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection has undertaken some interventions in the past, or from time to time, where they clear the streets of and some of these things, so that but it is important for us to have a long-term strategy, some intervention that would be well established, so that the moment they are identified, they are sent there. Sometimes I don't even know, but then we need to be able to diagnose. Somebody said there's a lot of mad people. Some are even driving. Some are
right. Those are difficult to
yes, and there's this person shouldn't be, they should be confined.
Oh my!
And then,
that's harsh.
And then, So there should be some rehabilitation, a huge rehabilitation process. I mean, machinery or mechanism or framework that government can put together, so that these people can be, some of them can be treated and they can come back to active life, But it's like when it happens and then the family is not able to take care, they release this person into the public and it becomes a public nuisance.
What do you think is making it so difficult for the agencies responsible to do their work?
It's all lack of resources
for them to take them off the street.
They will have to apply, put in the budget, Parliament would have to approve it, and then they get the funds and then do this. And because some of the plans are short-term, 1 year budget, so they are not able to do it well and do it, in a way that it will be sustainable. So it's never get done properly. But we are hoping that one day our leaders would be awake and they will help get these people, in a right environment. And then transform them so that we can have a peace. We can have our peace. Yeah.
What has been one of the most fulfilling philanthropic moments for you?
Oh,
I'm sure there's so many, but if you have to pick one.
If I have to pick one, maybe during the National Philanthropy Excellent Awards, when we acknowledge individuals and institutions that have made significant impact in philanthropy. When you just see them come and look at their profile, it's just so rewarding. And I wish that we can do more in the coming years.
Now back to perceptions and culture in Ghana. As a gentleman working in the philanthropic space, really a leading position in philanthropy in the country and globally, is there any pressure to live a certain kind of lifestyle, a non-flashy lifestyle? Because I assume that when people see you, say you have a certain type of car or a certain type, you live a certain type of life, they may have questions. Do you have that pressure subconsciously?
That pressure, sometimes I see it flashing through my mind, but I'm very transparent. So in my case, majority, quite a number of people know that I'm a full-time lecturer. I have not come into the space to enrich myself.
So, right.
I rather fund philanthropic endeavors. There were occasions that I have funded even the Ghana Philanthropy Forum and other projects out of my own resources, and I keep doing it. But it's important. What you are saying is important. There were occasions where we went to some communities way in the Western region to establish the community foundation, and sometimes I go on a normal vehicle.
Right.
I don't go with because whenever you go with those things, then the chiefs, the elders, everybody is expecting, and then they sit down as if you are just a normal NGO coming to do something. But we are coming to empower you to be in control of your own development. So what you're saying is very true. I'm very conscious sometimes.
You have to be conscious of it.
I tell you.
You have to be, I can literally imagine you have to be conscious of it.
Yes.
How is your work impacting your family? You have how many children?
2 girls.
So you don't have a boy?
Oh
wow, father of 2 girls. Okay. How is your work in philanthropy impacting your lives? How do you spot that it's having an impact on them?
It's been a positive impact, in a sense that myself, my wife, my kids, they are all just like me and mom and grandma.
Right.
So we always want to put a smile on somebody's face. It has never had a negative impact on me because I'm always available. I'm able to, because I'm an IT person, I do most of the things virtually also. Yes, that's what I can say. I do much.
Do they want to do anything professionally in the same space? Do they want to take over the Ghana Philanthropy Forum someday? Your daughters? What's their level of interest?
They could assist,
right?
But I don't think they would. They may want to also play a more positive role, but when I sit, I don't think that the Philanthropy Forum will die after me, but it's not going to be, extended or carried forward by the family, because this is a national entity. I have a very strong board. Some are retired MPs who are all on the board, and even the staff in the office are very strong. We have locations outside in other regions, reps who do a lot of good things for us in terms of research and evaluation. We do other things, and that is how we get our funding. We don't depend on grant. No, we do much of our resources are based on the evaluations and the studies that we do across country. So we have a national force, who do some of this work. Recently, we just finished a study that engaged over 300 individuals across the country to undertake some studies. So,
what are some of the most alarming facts that you found through your studies on a national level?
When we started, next year will be 10 years, so we'll be celebrating our decade of philanthropy.
Yes.
When we started there, we had a challenge with the word philanthropy and promoting it as that. We had to sometimes blend it with charity and other things. So we had a study. One of the studies there were some studies that we undertook, about the enabling environment. We did philanthropy in women. Currently, we are finishing a report which is to assess the potential partnership between private sector and philanthropy, so there can be a framework. And this has been done between ACTS, the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, and then the African Philanthropy Network. So we run events or programs like this. But like I was saying, philanthropy was a far-fetched terminology. People could not relate to it.
In Ghana.
And in Ghana, yes. So we have to be blending, we have to be educating. And now, philanthropy is philanthropy, which is one of the hallmarks of, the impact that we have that I can talk about. It's enlightening or inspiring to know that we are moving forward. We are making an impact, and we're more or less a gateway to philanthropy, and I can see a lot of people coming into the space. A lot of institutions. Star Ghana, for example, has tremendously moved into the space, which is also helping in providing capacity to the players within the philanthropy ecosystem, and also providing resources for philanthropy bodies at the grassroots.
Great. So when you are not doing anything philanthropy related. When you're not lecturing or anything, researching or doing anything in technology, what are you doing? What's Ben's life outside of this?
Yes, if I am not doing anything like that, I am either at home rolling on my grass.
Literally?
Literally, I have a lot of grass.
Right.
And then I have some monkey. Also, sometimes I go by the monkey. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I have some monkeys in the house.
Monkeys?
Then they come around to play with me. There are 2.
Okay.
And then one was overgrown and I let him go.
Why? Was he getting dangerous?
He got into wild because we did something and it became so wild. You know, we took him out of the cage and we tied it to a pole when I was not around for about 6 months and it became wild. So we said, let go, you monkey. So we are picky there. Picky is very friendly. Right. So I go and to be doing things. You can drink water. I do funny things.
What's your fascination with monkeys? Why monkeys?
Monkeys. Because of the funny things they do. Every child, everybody likes monkeys. So I have kids come around and they want to see the monkey eat, the monkey do things, and it keeps my tempo down. Yeah. And there's that.
What else?
And then maybe church. I go to church. And then we do our praises. I like praise and worship time. If you don't do praise and worship, the praise and worship is past.
Okay.
I don't like
you don't like music.
I want the music. Okay. Yes, I like the music.
Right.
So that also makes me happy and exciting. Yes.
Anything else?
Then I go to the beach. I live around Sakumono, so the beach is a wonderful place to be, get relaxed, and then come back to work. Yes. Yes.
Now, we're going to soon move to our fantastic segment on the Nasty Fortune, which is where we play a short game.
Okay.
But before then, we'll be rounding up with what the next stage of philanthropy looks like for you.
Okay.
Stay with us here on
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome back to the Natalie Fort Show now. Ben, as we round up, it's been interesting to learn what you do in your spare time, particularly the monkeys. But, talking about returning to international development and philanthropy, looking ahead from your experience throughout the years, what trends do you see shaping the space in the decade or so ahead?
In a decade?
Right.
Yes. Thank you, Natalie, for this question. One, there's a need for us to have the enabling environment nationally, and that can greatly be impacted by the role of government. And currently, we are just in the process of having a bill, an NGO bill. We have the NGO policy, but the bill is soon going to be out in the next I would say about 8 months or up to depending, because it depends. This year we are in election year, so everything is but there is a bill that is in the process. My hope is that this bill will not be to control, but the regulation will be to enhance the space, so that players within the philanthropy space will not be scared, but rather they will be motivated. There's a need for incentives for donors, both corporate and individual donors, so that we can grow our own indigenous philanthropies. And when you compare Ghana with other countries, I think we have a very good, we have our philanthropy space is freer as compared to other countries. It's not too restrictive, which is a good thing, and I pray that the government continues to do that. When you look at the vibrancy of the space compared to East Africa, Kenya, or South Africa, ours is not that great. But with the opportunities that we have seen so far, and the players that have come into the space, and everything that the other philanthropic bodies are doing, I am saying that there's a likelihood of again a growth in momentum as far as the space is concerned. Star Ghana is doing great. WASI is doing great. IDEC, a lot of, and some of the international, Oxfam, a lot of the international NGO, they are also changing their methodology in terms of granting and other things. So we foresee a brighter philanthropy space, a stronger environment for us to operate. But the lack of funds is one of the things that we think that there should be an improvement on. By that I mean the small size, medium sized NGOs are lacking funding to do their work. Some have changed their mission because of lack of funding. Some are using their own salaries and other things to do what they can. Some are getting extinct because of the lack of funding. So I would urge that all Ghanaians will seek some of these NGOs and provide some resources, or come to the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, and then we can direct them as to where their resources can be best
used. And how about
utilized.
for you, very briefly, what's next for you?
The next for me, I remain a philanthropist and a promoter of philanthropy, and I foresee myself continuing in the space. The Ghana Philanthropy Forum is at a stage where we will say that we are experiencing growth, tremendous growth. So the challenge is now to manage it. And we are getting partners. We are expanding in terms of our human resources to be able to manage this growth. So I can say that better years ahead. Better years ahead. And we are prepared to move into it.
Very well.
And you are welcome, please. Like I said, don't forget philanthropy. Wherever you go, take us with you. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you too, Ben. It's been wonderful having you on the show. And as always, you do great work. And
thank you.
I'll be more than happy to continue to support.
Thank you.
Congratulations and all the best ahead. Been in conversation with Dr. Ben Okra, founder of the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, and very passionate about philanthropy in general. It's been wonderful having you on the show. We've got fantastic next on the Natalie Fort Show with Dr. Ben Okra. Stay with us. The Natalie Fort Show is that time of the show where we wind down with fantastic. Ben, this is just a light game segment of the show. Okay. Nothing serious. So your game is this or that. I'm going to the title of your game is this or that.
This or that.
Yes. So I'm going to just list out two things and you tell me your preference.
Okay. Yes.
Sure.
2 things, and I tell you my preference.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So a holiday in Venice, Italy, or Ivry Mountains? Be honest.
But they are completely different.
Yeah, they are.
One home, one abroad. And you're asking me to choose between the two.
Yes.
I've been to a break before, so I choose the foreign one.
Okay,
abroad.
Because you've had I like how you will say you've had the every experience.
Yes.
So you'll pick Venice for something new.
Yes.
Fair enough. Day at the beach or at the zoo?
A day
I think I know
at the zoo because I told you I like the beach. I've been there. Yes.
Jazz, final one. Jazz or Afrobeats? Or done.
Afrobeats.
Afrobeats.
Yes.
Afrobeats. What's your favorite Afrobeat song?
I don't really know. I think something that is cultural, that is local.
That is
yes,
local.
I would
that
like that.
Africa.
Yes, Africa. Yes,
that is Africa. Fair enough. So that's it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Ben. Once again, it's been a pleasure having you. On the show.
Thank you so much.
You inspire even me within philanthropy and my passion for giving. And so, from us at the Natalie Fort Show, the entire team, the entire crew, we have a special something for you, a little something for you. It's right here.
Hey.
Okay.
What?
So.
Oh my God.
This is from us to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I didn't expect this from
that's
you.
The point. It's a gift. It's not supposed to be expected.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
So this, you're welcome. You can sit down. I can appreciate it. Yes, I can. So this is done by our artist, a resident artist, Imagine Flip. Wow. And you can contact him on Instagram. That's for the viewers if you want such a lovely piece of art. It's at Imagine Flip on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram. Imagine Flip, and the artist is Victor. Extremely talented.
Yes.
So Ben, I'm a lover of art, so of course we've done this for you and from the entire team.
Wow.
We just want to say thank you for being on the show much. And thank you for everything
I'm
you've
so
done.
Impressed. I don't know what to tell you, but
yes.
I'm so shocked. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. God bless you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You can, let me keep it here for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're so touched and emotional. Speechless. I'm glad we got you.
Very shocking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely welcome. And thank you for everything that you've done within the philanthropic space in Ghana. And I'm certain that your initiatives will remain and continue to contribute and benefit society.
Yes.
And thank you so much for watching this episode of the Natalie Fort Show. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with Dr. Ben Okra, and I hope that you've picked up some nuggets or two. Now, as we round up, as always, I leave you with a few words on Natalie's take. My conversation with Dr. Ben Okra has been very insightful, and it's taught me quite a number of lessons, and I hope it's taught you too. But one key thing that I would like to touch on and share with you is the cultural perspective. Now, as Ghanaians, there might be some cultural suspicions that we may even have when it comes to display of wealth and contributing or giving in society. Now, this perception can stop some of us, prevent some of us from giving, from lending a helping hand to those in need, and from contributing to our society. So I just want to encourage you that no matter how small or how big, in every single way, in every small way, and every day, you can contribute to society. Yes. Give a helping hand. And don't be too suspicious of how it may look. Because we are all here. No matter your level, there's someone who needs help. So please do so. And our country and the world at large will be a better place. Thank you so much for watching the Natalie Ford Show this evening. As always, we bring you more conversations that matter on next week's episode right here on GHOne TV. Have a wonderful evening.